On mute with the video off. We will invite you to leave your questions in the chat once the chat box is open. We will only answer general questions related to the artist in residence application and program, and we will not assess individual applications here. We are dropping some important links for you in the chat. It's the links to our website, to the online application portal, as well as a direct email contact for us. A few introductions to begin with. Pro Helvetia New Delhi, as you may know, is a liaison office of the Swiss Arts Council, Pro Helvetia, which is based in Zurich, Switzerland. For over 15 years now, Pro Helvetia New Delhi has been supporting and disseminating Swiss arts and culture in South Asia and Vietnam. We support residencies of artists from Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam to Switzerland and vice versa, with the aim to promote cultural exchange, develop and nurture long-term partnerships, and initiate co-productions. We are here today to discuss our Artists in Residence program. The aim of the residency is to gain inspiration, establish networks, develop work, and explore new collaborations. We provide residencies in the field of visual arts, music, literature, design and interactive media, performing arts, and transdisciplinary fields. We do not provide residencies in film. Residencies are aimed at artists and cultural practitioners from the above fields. The application for the program deadline is 1st of March 2025. The South Asia Liaison Office is based in New Delhi and manages the overall operation in the region through a small team. I'm Sadaf Raza. I head the office in New Delhi, and I'm joined here by my colleagues Parvati and Aman. And maybe I'll request them to introduce themselves and put their videos on. Parvati?
Hi, everyone. Nice to have you all join us. I'm Parvati Ramanathan. I'm the programs manager for the region.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining for this session today. I am Aman, and I am the programs manager for India. We also have Gaurav Singh here, who's a social media manager and the host for this info session today. Welcome to the session for the open call for residencies that takes place in 2026.
Shortly, we will be giving you more information about the residency application process itself. But before that, we are joined today by two artists, Ha Dao from Vietnam and Ashfika Rahman from Bangladesh, both of whom have been on this residency last year. And they very kindly accepted our invitation to share their experience of this residency program as artists. So it'll be great for you to hear from them directly. We will begin with Ha. Ha Dao is a photographer and artist based in Hanoi, Vietnam. Drawn by the quiet drama in everyday life, she started out making images that take an imaginative approach to the documentary genre, often through the lens of gender and sexuality. Her current practice incorporates multimedia and explores stories of love on the margin. Ha co-runs Matka, an independent initiative dedicated to opening conversations around photography in Vietnam since 2017. I give it over to Ha to share more about the residency.
Hello, everyone, and happy Lunar New Year, happy Year of the Snake from Vietnam. Let me quickly share my screen. You can all see it. Great. All right. So thank you, Parvati. Thank you, Pro Helvetia, for having me. It's my pleasure to be sharing my residency experience for artists from the region who are looking to apply for this very cool and generous program. Overall, it's been a really rewarding and meaningful experience for me. And I'm grateful for the support from Pro Helvetia as well as for my host, for my coach, Anne Griffin, who has been also extremely attentive and helpful. So before going in my experience in Switzerland, I'll be sharing with you the actual outcome of the residency first. And what you are seeing is an image from my open studio in Hanoi called Strange Tales from a Studio of Leisure. And I just kind of wanted to have a sense of closure at the end of the residency before the Lunar New Year ends. So that's why I started to work on the open studio right after coming back to Vietnam in December. And it is actually still taking place. It is the last week of the open studio. And it presents some images as well as stories and objects connected to alternative spiritualities in Switzerland. So anything from ancient traditions like tarot reading and witchcraft to practices like sound healing, crystals, or cacao ceremony, which I assume are more recently imported from elsewhere. And the reason why I chose to pursue this topic was because I already had an interest in astrology before, but I guess the bigger reason is that I wanted to know why such practices in healing and like fortune telling regain a new popularity in this day and age. However, as I started to look into it, Switzerland does have a particular legacy with witch hunts as well as some public figures, like psychologist Carl Jung, who has an interest in spirituality, or people like Rudolf Steiner or Hermann Hesse. So before coming here, I only knew of Switzerland through Toblerone chocolate or Rolex watches, as you can tell, because Vietnam doesn't really have a direct cultural link with Switzerland. So as you can imagine, this experience, staying for 3 months in Switzerland, has taken me to different places and, showed me a very different side to the country that is often associated with precision and timeliness, order, things like that. Yeah, that is at the recent artist guided tour. And I want to emphasize that the residency doesn't really aim or expect artists to complete an artwork or present it to the public. That is purely my own wish, because I wanted to share my journey with Hanoi visitors who surprisingly relate to the topic. As Sadaf has mentioned earlier, the residency is for offering inspiration, building network, and you aren't really under pressure to complete anything. But personally, as a photographer, I find that working on a self-assigned project is the best way for me to actually learn from experience. And because 3 months are like a long time, but it can fly by in the blink. So I do prefer to have like a goal to work towards too. And on this table, you can see some materials that I collected, mainly books. For example, the tarot reading book gifted for me from my tarot reader, and some leaflets, brochures that I collected from different places. And it is the map of Switzerland. It's a small country, and with I've noted some key places that I've been able to travel to. So spanning German and French and Italian speaking regions. And it is all made possible thanks to this little red card over here, which I didn't know was such a luxury until I arrived, because it allows you to go on all kinds of public transportation for free. So train, bus, boats, everything. So yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be my ID photo here, but I just cover it with a sticker. Yep. And but apart from traveling, I spend most of my days in Villa Streuli, which is a century-old villa in Winterthur. It's a small city close to Zurich. So when you apply for the residency, you have to choose your preferred residency location. And I was very happy to have chosen Villa Streuli for a couple of reasons. So first of all, as you can see, it's a beautiful venue. It's very quiet. It offers like a calm atmosphere for reflection, but it's also very close to Zurich. It's only 20 minutes away by train, so that I can still attend event and see my coach without any issue. Here are two other residents, an Iranian filmmaker and a Spanish performance artist. And we spend time together in the villa. However, they are all from different residency programs. So unless we make a plan to see each other, we actually didn't see each other around that much. And this is something to keep in mind because there is a unstructured residency. So it's totally up to you how to make use of the time. So it's a kind of freedom that could go both ways. Oh, and even though Villa Shirley doesn't have a focus on photography, it is within walking distance to the Photo Stiftung, which is a photography foundation in Switzerland. And they really have one of the best collection of photo books. So I think they have like 30,000 titles or something. And I could easily spend the whole afternoon here, but just browsing. There is a book on Hanoi by a photographer that I happened to come across to, and of course there are so many other amazing titles. And I also happened to come between September and December, where coincidentally the Swiss Photo Month was taking place. It's the very first time that such a festival took place in the country. And so that's, I was lucky to catch the festival, attending cool events like this talk with Alex South, an American photographer. It is me and my coach, Anne Griffin, in Basel. We went to an exhibition together. Yeah, there is Vevey Festival, Vevey Image Festival by the Lake Geneva. It's beautiful, like it blew me away every time I get to see it. Yep, and for my project, I get to travel to a lot of strange places. There is the Hexen Museum, it's the Museum of Witchcraft. There is a Goetheanum in Basel, or the Monte Verita, and all of which have many fascinating histories that would take too long to delve into. And although it was not the main goal of the residency, I truly enjoyed having the time together with Swiss Vietnamese artists. There is Quỳnh Đông, a filmmaker, and there is Siu Phạm, also a filmmaker who I've known from Vietnam. So my favorite memories were just eating home-cooked meal with Quỳnh Đông, or visiting Siu Phạm back in Nyon, and we took the boat to Ivoire in France, just for some crepes, and then came back the same afternoon. Yeah, I mean, so during the residency, even though I was determined to work on a body, to work on a photographic series, I was also reminded to not lose sight of daily moments like this, and to understand that life is also much bigger than art. Yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you to everyone for listening, and good luck. I have a tip for applications, but I think I'd rather leave it at the end and hand it over to Ashfika.
Thank you so much, Ha. This was really like gave us impressions of your practice as well as of like all that you immersed yourself in during your residency. So really thank you for that. I hand it over to Aman to introduce our artist from Bangladesh.
Thanks, Ha. I think you've taken us to a very interesting journey that you've had around your residency period there. We are also joined by Ashfika Rahman from Bangladesh, and Ashfika is a visual artist and pedagogue. Her mixed media installations focus on creating an alternative visual archive that highlights neglected and marginalized communities in her homeland. Primarily centered on photography, Ashfika recontextualizes her work through contemporary media, including text, drawing, prints, textiles, sound, and video. Through extensive research, she meticulously documents the struggles, violence, communal displacement, cultural colonization, and oppression faced by these communities. Ashfika was on her residency, I believe, last year around the summer period in Zurich. Ashfika, I now invite you to come and share your experience and time in Switzerland during the residency. Thanks.
Hi, Aman. Thank you so much for your kind introduction, and thank you so much for opening the platform to share. I think this is a very important one to have this discussion. I wish we had this when we were applying as well. Because I think, first of all, we need to understand many people will probably apply for a residency first time, and they are still in a dilemma that what residency is for, like what to expect from a residency and why we apply for residency. I think Pro Helvetia is one of a prominent platform or organization who offer a residency in a very diverse for a very diverse practitioner and provide a very diverse platform. So I think if I may explain that there's many more residencies, that research residencies, for some other residencies, including studio residencies, according to the practice or according to the expectation from the practitioner, they have probably different design for different residencies. Then I was in the studio residency, so it's very important to understand first that which residency that I want to apply, what to expect. So either I'm going for research, either I'm going for a studio residency. Since my practice is more into production, so I applied for a studio residency where there is accommodation and studio provided. That is in the list of offering, but there are some many more invisible offering that is not probably in the document, but we can probably share that. So in Switzerland that we have 3 months, and in any residency that what it offers to explore an entire ecosystem. So we take it in this way. We don't go anywhere for 3 months to produce something. That Pro Helvetia, she already explained that Pro Helvetia never expect that someone will produce a masterpiece there, but explore the ecosystem. So this is how also I also imagine that my time will be there. I was provided by a massive studio at Rotte Fabric. It's beautiful studio right beside the lake. So I had a time to come down and think. The first thing that if we want to use the best from my experience, that we probably have to be in touch with the related people first to make a plan. So I was in touch with, I was introduced with the Pro Helvetia Switzerland. So where I actually explain what my expectations are, who the people I want to meet, what the places that I want to go. So then they made me a whole list. So I wanted to meet some collectives, artists who produce, practitioners like me. And apart from that, I wanted to meet curators. I wanted to meet gallerists. I wanted to meet museum directors. So there are different phenomena from the ecosystem that I wanted to meet. So I literally explain my interest. So they actually made a list according to my interest. My practice is more into social work or socially concerned topics. So they put me in touch with those people. But if someone is working on, for example, environmental issues, someone is working for mental health, someone is working for some other issues, they have to explain that this is my interest. And Pro Helvetia will make a list of potential contact, and they will put you in touch with that contact, so we can explore in that way. Otherwise, 3 months, we will probably be lost in a bigger ecosystem. And then there comes a coach. There will be a coach from the local art scenario. That can be a curator, a senior practitioner, or someone that Pro Helvetia will assign for each individual artist. So that coach is like a mother. So they will actually, literally, they will take you to places. They will put you in touch with many people. For example, we visited Art Basel together. We visited many museums together. We went to see many curators. So that's how we probably use the time. And then we see not only now that the experience that we're having for 3 months, but also potential collaboration in future. So I think I already explained that we have a travel card. So it's easy that we actually explore different part of the ecosystem. In my time, I was lucky enough that I got in touch with my coach, and then we had some collaborative exhibition in Zurich Film Festival. So we had an exhibition right there because it was a privilege to be there right on time. And then I was part of Zurich Art Weekend. So if we see that opportunity also there, that we got into the local art scenario to have this collaboration. And also, I think we need to look around the other thing that is happening, festivals, not always have to necessarily have to be something related to mainstream art, but also some music festivals, some local festivals, some textile festival, some other local scene, just to get a sense of the place that I am in. So I would say that people who are applying for a residency is Helvetia provide a wider range of open door to explore, and we really need to understand how big it is and how maximum we can use. There are many other resident will be there from all around the world. So there's another group that we had with all the other resident. We are still friend. We are still planning to do more collaborative work. So there are Pakistani artists, there are Indian artists. They were doing residency in different places by Pro Helvetia. So we had this group, a massive group. We had many online meetings and physical meeting as well. So now that opens up a future opportunity to have collaboration, not only from Asia to Europe, but also Asia to Asia, like within Southeast Asia. So, and also I think there is many other grant and other project that offered Pro Helvetia, that offered by Pro Helvetia even later on, that we can explore when we meet someone there in Switzerland. We can have a collaboration and we can actually propose some project later on also. So we always have to have a conversation, meaningful conversation whenever we are meeting someone. So if whoever applying now, my opinion will be keep a open eye and speak out what you need and explore as much as possible. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ashfika. This was, you laid it out very well, step by step, of not just the preparation, but also your attitude and approach throughout how you approach the 3 months in terms of also networking within the Swiss network, but also within the South Asian or within the Asian network that you encountered there. And I'm sure there will be lots of questions for both of you. So yeah, thank you both of you, to Ha and Ashfika, for sharing your experiences. And those of you who have logged in, please feel free to share your questions that you have for the artists, and that you can drop it in the chat eventually, and they'll be answered at the end of the this info session when we go into the Q&A section. And now I'll lay out the application process. In the chat, you'll see the application link where you can apply for the residencies. This is our application portal. A login ID needs to be created for this, and the application can be saved online and submitted later. So you can work gradually on the application. It doesn't have to be all in one go. The application prompts you to select a residency place, and there are a list of residency places provided on our website. But please note that choosing one does not guarantee you the residency space if you are selected. So the residency place depends on the availability and the suitability for the artist's practice. So if like a certain place is suitable for your practice and you have the resources around there, then we will match you with that place. And also, of course, if when you want to go, if this place is available, then it depends on a whole lot of things. Now we'll jump into the eligibility criteria. To be eligible, applicants must fulfill these general requirements. Applicants must be rooted in the cultural scene of their region. So this means that if whether you're working within a certain in your country or in your area of work, in the place of work, if you don't have to be a citizen of that place, but if you are rooted in that scene, then you're eligible to apply from that from that scene, from that area. Further, in the eligibility criteria is that they must share their motivation behind applying to Switzerland for this residency. They must have sufficient knowledge of English. So there are 4 working languages in Switzerland, but English will get you very far. They must have a concrete research topic with a lasting impact. So these are our eligibility criteria. They are also listed in the application process, so you'll get an idea further from that. The deadline to submit the applications is the 1st of March, and no late applications will be entertained. The portal will close after that. We will announce the grantees of the residencies in June 2025. And all the links that you need are in the chat box. Please note that we welcome applications from all disciplines that we work on, like visual arts, music, literature, performing arts. So across the performing arts, like theater, dance, and movement. We also support applications in the field of arts, science, and technology, design, architecture, interactive media, or interdisciplinary practices. The only discipline that we do not work or engage with is films. Students and fresh graduates are not eligible to apply. And there is no age limit for the applications. So please don't limit yourself if you have something like this in mind. The applications will be assessed and the finalists will be contacted and announced by the end of June 2025.
Thanks, Parvati, and thanks, Ha and Ashfika once again. I will now share a little bit more about the residency in terms of what we expect and what we support with to the artists when they're on the residency. This, as both the artists have kind of informed, this is a research-based residency, and we do not expect you to produce or create works as an outcome. Of course, if you wish to, you're more than welcome, but it's not a requirement. These residencies serve to gain inspiration, to establish networks, and to work and research on projects. You can also engage in an open day, and you're expected to submit a report to Pro Helvetia on your residency upon your return. For your residency, Pro Helvetia offers you accommodation, travel costs, which I believe Ha has kind of she's shared all the information about how important and effective it is. There's a daily allowance that you get, professional supervision or support, travel and health insurance, visa fee and contribution for production material cost. This depends. It is a case-by-case thing. We also provide support with childcare. So for all artists who are parents, this is very important. We would now address the questions that we have received when people had registered and also through Instagram, but we will open the chat and you can send your questions in the chat and we will address them one-on-one. I mean, we'll answer them, and please make use of the artists here, because I think the general information was already laid by all of us here, but it'll be very interesting if you can try and ask the artists about their experiences and their practical dealing of the time there.
While the chat is open now and everybody can send questions, there is a question on social media which says, can an individual practitioner from India with no ties with Switzerland apply? And how does that work? If any of you would want to take that.
Sure. I think I can take one, and this one, and maybe Parvati and Sadaf can join and add to it. You have to be rooted in the sense, I mean, you can be staying outside the countries that are listed on our website, but it is also important for you to be active in the scene in these countries. You are anyway, I mean, you can apply, but of course the assessment will the jury will keep this in mind when they're assessing your application. How active are you in the scene in the countries that are, that are listed?
I'd add that yes, you don't have to have any existing ties with Switzerland. that is the purpose of the residency, that you build this during the residency. So it's sufficient that in your application you show what kind of ties you would like to build. So if you find Google and find out institutions or individual practitioners, artists, collectives, museum spaces, any of these that are of interest to you and aligned to your practice, then you can mention them in your application, and and that would work for your application. So no, you don't have to have any existing ties with Switzerland. And yeah, any artist from India or the region in the network can apply.
Thanks, Parvati. Okay, so from the chat, we have a question that says length of residency is fixed to 3 months. Some of the listed residencies are 2 years long.
Can you repeat the second part of the question, Gaurav?
It says some of the listed residencies are 2 year long.
This particular open call is for studio residencies, which are for 3 months duration, and there might be other open calls at other times that are for longer projects. They are not residencies. They might be for longer exchange collaboration projects, but this particular open call is for studio residencies that are 3 months.
I hope that answers your question, Payal. There is another question which says, if I have made short art films in the past and I'm interested in exploring archives and research for future work, which uses multiple fonts such as painting, sculpture, and film work, am I still eligible to apply? If any of you would want to take it up.
So to understand, is the artist applying with a different in a different discipline than their established practice?
Yeah, I think it says, if I have made short art films in the past and I'm interested in exploring archives and research for future work, which uses multiple fonts such as painting, sculpture, and film work, am I still eligible to apply in terms of criteria for materials? If you'd wanna, Veera, if you'd want to just kind of tell us a little bit more about what Parvati is asking, we can take this up. Okay, we have another question that says, when it specifies research-based residency, do I have to submit / publish a paper?
No, I'll take this one. It's not a paper that you have to submit or publish. What we expect is only a report, and for that also you will get a format which is more like an evaluation of a self-evaluation of your time during your residency. So we don't really expect you to, as I said, it's not a production-based residency, and we don't really expect you to produce any specific thing out of it. It's just a simple report with basic questions that is expected. There's also an open day, of course, but it's also something that you can do. But again, it depends.
Thanks, Aman. This one is for the artist, Ha and Ashfika, if one of you would want to take it up. It says, we want help in terms of understanding how we can create a portfolio for the residency and how it might look. So if you can give a brief on the portfolio.
Yes, Ashfika, please.
I think I'll take this. But I think in terms of portfolio for particular this residency, I think we should make it very specific. That can be probably more relevant to the application that we are applying. For example, so then the reviewer or the jury board can get a sense of our practice, and they can probably sense that what to expect from us, or if that shows our previous experience on the ground in terms of medium, not necessarily have to be relevant to the context, because it can be something very new. For example, my practice was about collaborative community collaborative practice. So I applied in my proposal. I wish to have a collaboration with Roma community, Roma collective. So I mentioned that particularly that I want to have a collaboration with Roma community, and there is art collective called Roma collective. In that way, I try to make a portfolio where I can show my previous collaboration with many different community practitioners or artisans. So if we make it very specific or clean, not to be a very big 200-page portfolio, but a very specific that the reviewer can actually have a sense what is our practice, what is our interest, and not only about medium, but also what we think politically and on philosophically. So just to give them a sense that we don't have to have 100-page portfolio, but a specific one.
Thank you. I hope that answers the question. Parvati, if you want to take this question from Veera, it's a clarification. It says, she's just trying to clarify if the artists who have worked with film as one of the mediums, many mediums, are they still eligible to apply? Because we've earlier mentioned that people who have had film sort of background are not eligible, right? So.
Yes. The reason behind this is that there's a separate body, Swiss body, that supports practice residencies in film, and this is why our focus is not in film. But of course, your practice can have been in film, and that if you want to explore archives or networks with other disciplines and practices, and you're able to justify that in your application about how this aids your how this aids your entire research, then certainly, yes, you're eligible to apply and your application will be considered.
Great. There's a question about Open Day. If one of the artists want to take it up, they just want to know how does the Open Day work, or we can ask the team also to take it up.
Maybe Ha, you can share your experience, given that you also kind of presented this in the slides that you showed.
I mean, the Open Day in Switzerland at Village Charlie is a bit different because it took place not at the end, but in the middle of my stay. So, I was still working on my project. I have some images that I printed out on just small prints to show the work in progress. And also I also brought some prints from back home just for the visitors to have like a sense of who I am. And the reason why it took place in the middle and not at the end of the residency is because Village Charlie, the hosting venue, was hosting the Open Day for the two other artists that are staying in the same villa. I guess it's a different case for different venues, but the main aim, I think, is just to so that people can come and meet you in person. It's always good to have some in-person interaction. I also got some interesting feedback, and interest from the Swiss visitors. So that was the point of the Open Day.
Sorry, Gaurav, maybe I'll just add to that in case the rest of the people here are hearing about the Open Day for the first time, because you get to know only after the application is selected. But Open Day as a concept, we encourage the artist in residence to do this towards the end of the residency. It's not mandatory, but it's a good exercise. As Ha said, it's literally a sharing of your residency experience. It's not supposed to be, since it's not a production-based residency, it's not meant to have necessarily an end product on display like an exhibition or a performance. It could just be a chat. You could show whatever work you wish to show, and sometimes the coach can also facilitate in your organizing or the host residency. So that's just in a nutshell the Open Day.
And just to add a bit to what Sadaf just said, the residencies, there are different residencies who operate in different ways. So there could be a residency that may start with an introduction Open Day where they kind of introduce the artist to the network and one towards the end. So it also depends on the host and the artist, of course. And there's also a budget that you can avail for your open day and your production around the time. I think Ashfika
Ashfika, do you want to
has,
jump? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit with the ongoing conversation that, I mean, in generally, the idea of open days is artists open their door for the locals to explore what they have been researching or producing or whatever they have been doing. But I think it can be different also. For example, I would like to share my experience. What we did is like I invited more artists to come, and we had a collective open days. There were many artists, South Asian practitioner and non-South Asian practitioner and Swiss practitioner as well. So there was sound artist, there was a performance artist, me as a visual artist. So we had there was one artist from Nepal as well there. There was one from Pakistan, there was one from India, there was one from Switzerland, a researcher from Switzerland. So we literally invited everyone to come on my studio because I had a massive studio. That was a privilege to have. So we all perform our own practice. So together we actually create one conversation. What is home for an artist? So that was our theme. So on that theme, we each of this practitioner, they actually bring one work of their, and all together we created one artwork. So that was in our open studio, and we invited local and non-local artists, non-artists to come and explore our studio. We cooked Asian food also, Asian cuisine to share. So it's not always about art. It also sharing culture as well. Music, we were playing different music as well from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. We were serving different food from different region, and we were showing different work, music. There was the sound artist was showing some music piece or sound piece. I was showing some visual art. The performer was performing. So that sort of sharing is also open studio, can be a open studio, an idea of open studio. So open is literally idea of being open to the local and have this interaction.
Thanks,
Give a alternative idea of open studio if anyone want to explore.
Thanks. I think that kind of gives a lot of clarity on what an open day looks like. The next question is, how does it work if someone wishes to work with a certain interdisciplinary artist? Do you mention it, I'm guessing, in the application? And if by chance that's not possible, does the application get cancelled?
Maybe I'll take that. No, I mean, of course, if you have identified someone you wish to interact with, have an exchange with, you can mention it in the application. Of course, that's always great. And if you get selected and you're on a residency, that connect will happen. If you don't have any connections pre-existing, it really doesn't matter, because the point of the residency is for you to make new networks and connections. And during the residency process, we facilitate that, whether it's through our colleagues in special discipline departments in our Zurich office, but primarily through a coach who will be another artist from a similar discipline or practice or research topic, who could facilitate your residency there and identify the right networks, the kind of people you should meet, the kind of spaces you should visit. So that part is taken care of.
Thanks, Sadaf. There's another question for the artist. It says, was there anything in specific in your application that you felt helped you with your selection to be able to be selected for the residency? Like, was there something specific in your application? Yeah. Yes, how?
I think because we are not the selection committee, so we cannot really answer that question based on like the criteria. But just to expand on what we have discussed regarding the portfolio, Ashfika advise tweaking your portfolio so that it best represent you or demonstrate a link to your application. By all means, you can do that. In my case, I just have like this one portfolio that I prepared. But I think a compelling reason why a residency like this would benefit you at this point in your career to do spend time on providing a specific reason. And I think, for every individual, it's different. But in my case, it was, I said, basically something like I needed a change of scenery and a quiet space, both physical and mental, after having lived my whole life in Hanoi and basically just hustling to earn a living, to run a community program while trying not to neglect my own artistic practice. And so the residency ended up providing just that, this space, this kind of empty platform for reflection. And I think the final work actually becomes quite self-reflexive. It touches on the ideal condition for art making, having a rooms of one's own, so I think elaborating on the motivation is quite important, whereas the topic for research could be loosely defined at this stage because, in my case, I haven't been to Switzerland. It was my first time, so I changed my proposal and it was totally fine. Yeah, that's it from me.
You want to add something? Thanks, Ha.
Yeah, I think residency is a second step for a practitioner. We have an academic study or not study, but we have a certain time of our practice, and then we want to take our practice in next level. So what is the next level when we actually have done our academic study? So then here it comes with the exploration and experiencing, and this is what residency offers. So I think to be able to have a residency or be accepted in a residency, that we have to, in our application, in our portfolio, in our proposal, we probably have to make it very sure that we have a practice for a certain time, and now we are ready to take it further. So we are ready to explore further. So if that is clear in our application, then it's probably, and if jury board and the reviewer can actually see that in our portfolio and our proposal and our research, and then I think it's always a very good way to be accepted. There was, of course, already has said that it depends on individual case, but I think I would say that this is like basic idea of a residency, that we have an academic study, we had a practice for certain time, now we are ready to explore further new geography, new ecology, or new issue that require me to explore. That would I say, like, why residency, whenever they're offering, they will always like to see, probably in my opinion, that why I have to be there, why I should be there, and why they have to accept me, and why they have to put so much money or invest and effort on me. So I have to make sure in my application, all this criteria that I have to submit, all the documents or my practice and all the way that I have to share, that why they have to get me there. So because it's a very expensive offer, and they will always try to see probably the best use of it. So we have to make sure that we are the best. We will use it really, really meaningfully. And also, I think all the residency, all the effort is to see the artist growing. So in our application, if we can make sure that that will help our practice in further, that is something probably Pro Helvetia in return will expect, because they don't expect money, or they don't ask artists to donate work or anything. That there is no means after that. Only thing that Pro Helvetia will probably expect that the artists grow after. So in our proposal also, if we can actually make this very clear that that will really help me in our future practice, I think that all Pro Helvetia will expect from any applicant. So maybe we make it very clear that that will help us in further, and how.
Thanks, Ashfika. The next question is for research-based photography project, what is required to be submitted technology-wise if there is something that has to be explored? If somebody from the team wants to take this up.
Maybe I'll take that. No, nothing specifically actually, and technology-wise either. It's literally if it's a research-based a motivation than just the topic of your research, and how just taking from what Ha and Ashvika was saying. It'll be good to know why you're thinking of doing this in Switzerland, which does not mean that you should know, you should be able to name some names or institutions, but maybe just what kind of information or practices you would want access to enable your research. So yeah, just the topic and why in Switzerland you think this research might help your practice.
Sadaf, do you want to take the next one also? It says, having graduated in 2024, am I eligible for the residency?
Oh, the thing is, we do not accept, in the sense the eligibility does not include fresh off university. We usually expect a few years of experience after, and by a few years, I know it's a very large term, but at least 2 to 3 in our opinion. But yeah, so maybe a bit soon. If you graduated in 2024, I'm so sorry.
The next question is in the brief description section. I'm guessing this is the application itself. It has asked to mention residency place. May I know where can I find it in the website?
We have a list of residency spaces in Switzerland. Maybe we can share a direct link to that. It's on our website. We'll just quickly drop it in our chat box. You can look up the residency spaces there.
Yeah, just to add, this does not guarantee if you select it. Like with Ha, it was different. She selected Villa Shauli, and apparently it was also available, but it doesn't guarantee you the residency place that you select, because the spaces are limited, and so are the slots that they have for different artists who apply from all over the world. So yeah, but you can look at it. We'll put the link on the chat maybe.
Okay, sure. Can professionals who are not artists, researchers, but are in arts and cultural management field could apply, as in taking this residency to also enrich or create ways for better cross-cultural projects for diverse perspectives from arts institutions in Switzerland? Parvati, if you want to take that up.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking for this link for the previous question for the residency spaces. So
I'll take it up. I think, I mean, studio residencies, given that it's a studio residency where you kind of work on your practice around these 3 months. And if you're a programmer or you work with an art institution like us, maybe it's better that you apply for a research trip, which is a shorter duration. It's for a maximum of 4 weeks. And you can apply for that throughout the year. It's just that the application has to reach us at least 3 months before you plan your travel. You start your travel. I mean, yeah, please feel free to connect with us if you want to know more about it. You can also read about the research trips on our website, but I believe that will be, yeah, that's more applicable for programmers and curators.
Great. Also, if you go on our Instagram page, which we've shared earlier, it has a lot of research trip, look backs. So that will also give you an idea in terms of how they unfold. The next question is, I'd been working professionally before getting done my MA in 2023 and 2024. And worked even during my graduation. Am I eligible to apply?
I mean, it depends. If you graduated, you took a break and you worked, you continued your practice, and then you decided to do your MA. Then I think it depends. How long has that been? But yeah, I think we've kind of covered this question. Sadaf's already touched upon it.
Sorry, I missed this question. This says, are there any particular selection criteria apart from the eligibility that the jury is looking at?
No, I think it's just good to look at the eligibility criterias. I think that's it for us. Maybe just to repeat, we are looking at your motivation to be there, your topic of interest, and as far as eligibility concerned, we look at upcoming and mid-career artists, what stage of the of your own practice and artistic career you're at. And relevance in the local art scene of your current practice. And beyond that, no, yeah, I think that's it.
Great. I think those are all the questions. We've covered it all. Unless somebody has something else. Yep. Over to you, Sadaf.
Okay, great. So I suppose we can wrap it up. Thank you everyone for joining the info event. I'd really like to thank Ha Dao and Ashfika Rahman to take out the time to share their experience with us today. And we really hope that has inspired some of you who joined to apply. It is, if we can say so ourselves, it is a very good studio residency program. So we really hope you apply. And if you have more questions, of course, reach out to us. We've dropped all the relevant links in the chat. You can get in touch with us through email, social media. Happy to answer all your questions. Just repeating, the deadline is the 1st of March. So yeah, and also thanks to the team, Aman, Parvati, and of course, Gaurav. We couldn't have put this together without the team. And yes, we look forward to your applications. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
Goodbye and good luck. Thank you, everyone.